Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Art Games. Today we are going to be ranking the atomic era units of Civilization 5. You know the drill by now, let's start. The anti-tank gun. The anti-tank gun is the anti-armor unit of this era. Well, one of the anti-armor units in this era. It's upgrades from the Lancer and it has a 100% bonus against tanks. It's just a regular. I'm going to put it in C tier. It's a regular unit. It's nice to have. It's not exceptional. But the next unit is a lot more interesting. The atomic bomb. The atomic bomb is an undisputed S tier. The atomic bomb can halve the amount of people in a city with a single shot. They were supposed to be interceptors, but due to a bug that has been in the game since the start, they cannot be intercepted no matter how many anti-air or air or mobile SAMs you put down, and they can halve a city. They can halve a city's population if you. They can even destroy a city outright if you throw enough of them. They can also be used to destroy all the aircraft in a city because they destroy all the units all the units on the tile that they land on. So you just throw them at a city with 6 enemy aircraft and all of a sudden there aren't any aircraft there. So yeah, it's just an undisputed S tier. You need atomic bombs in Civilization 5 if your opponent has them. B-17. The B-17 is the American special unit. It replaces the bomber and has more combat strength, which is nice. It has a Siege 1 promotion, which is nice, makes it better against cities, and the evasion promotion, meaning that it's less likely to get shot down by anti-aircraft or fighters. I think it's an A tier. It's a good unit. It does what it does very well, but nothing can really contest with the atomic bomb in this era. The bazooka is another interesting unit. It upgrades from the machine gun, and unlike what it may suggest, the bazooka isn't an anti-armor unit. It's just a melee support unit, just like not melee. One range support unit, just like the machine gun and Gatling gun before it. So I think it's a C tier. Actually, I'm going to put it in C tier for now, but that may change. The bomber. The bomber is basically just the B-17 except without all the fancy promotions. It can be used very effectively against enemy units. It can be used very effectively against enemy cities. It's just a good unit overall, and I think it deserves a B tier. Next, the fighter. The fighter can be effective against the bomber. It can intercept bombers, and it can also clear the way for them using air sweep. It also has the air recon ability, allowing it to see in every direction for 6 tiles. So if you put it on, say, an aircraft carrier, then you suddenly have 6 vision permanently. I think it's a B tier. It's just like the bomber. It has a job, and it does that job very well. The helicopter gunship is another very interesting unit. It is the upgrade from the anti-tank gun, but unlike the anti-tank gun, which only has a move of 2, which isn't that nice if you're hunting armor, which usually has a move of around 5. But the helicopter gunship has the highest movement of any land unit in the game, that being 6. It can hover over all terrain at no cost, including mountains. However, it will take damage if it ends its turn in a mountain. I think it's a B tier. I think it's a B tier unit, not because I think it's bad, but just because there are some other units that are just so good. It can also be used to plunder very effectively, since it has a movement of 6, and it can also attack and move in the same turn. so that's nice. You can shoot and then go away, which if you are in mountainous territory, that's a very nice ability to have. But you do have to watch out for mobile SAMs. Then there is the Marine, which is just an F tier. It's unlocked later in the game than the infantry, but has less combat strength. It starts with the amphibious promotion and embarkation with defense, allowing it to defend at double strength when embarked, and it also has extra sight when embarked, which might sound good, but it has less combat strength than the infantry. It doesn't upgrade into anything or upgrade from anything, so you have to build a Marine Corps just completely from scratch without any previous promotions. They can still be hunted down by enemy naval forces. You do need to send your navy along anyway, so you might as well send your main forces. And they're just infantry. They can't defend against anything. They can defend against anything that's not infantry. They can fight infantry, but whenever someone shows up with aircraft or tanks or artillery, you have no answer to that because you only have infantry. Marines are basically just worse infantry that are unlocked later, cost more production. Please don't build a Marine Corps. I mean, even the amphibious promotion, it might help over rivers, but it's not that big of a bonus, and when attacking shores, you will just be able to bombard the enemy ground forces with your battleships or your carriers. So, no, don't build Marines, please. The Mobile SAM. I think the Mobile SAM is a D tier. This might sound strange, but the anti-aircraft gun will primarily be used against bombers and fighters. It's unlocked slightly earlier than them, but usually you won't have mobile SAMs won't really be used a whole lot against bombers and fighters, and the premier threat of the age in which you use mobile SAMs, the stealth bomber, cannot be intercepted, which is incredibly OP and makes the mobile SAM pretty much useless, except against fighters, which won't really be used a whole lot since they're mainly used to clear the way for bombers, and the stealth bomber doesn't need that. I think, but it can be used very effectively against helicopter gunships, but that's basically its only role. And helicopter gunships, despite are basically in a ground unit, you can still shoot them with say artillery or rocket artillery. So I think it's not that good, because yes, it does incredible damage against them, but usually they'll just be able to attack and run away. So yeah, a D tier, not that great. The Panzer is the German special unit, which replaces the tank, and I think it's an A tier. It's unlike the normal tank, it has 1 extra movement and 10 extra melee strength, which is really nice. They can be used to barrel through enemy formations. And they give Germany a real edge in the late game. They're just incredibly good units. They do require oil, which isn't nice, but they can also move after attacking. They have 6 move, which is equal to that of the helicopter gunship. Of course, they will be slower in practice because helicopter gunships don't have to worry about terrain. But still, it's an incredibly nice unit. Use it to punch through your opponent's lines and kill the artillery or rocket artillery behind them. It's an incredibly nice unit, and if you're playing Germany, you definitely want a Panzer Corps. Paratrooper. The Paratrooper is, I think it's a C tier unit. It's basically like the Marine in that it's a replacement for the in that it's another option when compared with the infantry. But unlike the But unlike the Marine, whose abilities don't really matter, the Paradrop ability allow it to Paradrop up to 9 tiles away, and it will still have movement to perform other actions aside from attacking. It also has no movement cost to pillage, which is nice. So if you have sufficient paratroopers, say 3 or 4, you can just put down a defensive line if your main line has been destroyed or damaged. You can put them behind enemy lines to threaten their artillery. Although this might not work as well because they aren't very maneuverable without their paradrop ability. So the artillery will usually be able to move away, but then their line will be in chaos, and you will be able to exploit that with tanks, bombers, or artillery. So overall, I think it's an okay unit. It does have slightly less combat strength, but unlike the Marine, which upgrades into nothing, this unit can upgrade into the XCOM squad, which is an incredibly nice unit, and you definitely want that XCOM squad had to have a few promotions if you can. So I would suggest you build a few paratroopers. Rocket artillery. I think rocket artillery is another C tier, not because it's necessarily bad, but because unlike in previous eras where you basically needed artillery to wear down cities, you needed siege units. In this era, they can be replaced by aircraft. Of course, aircraft still have downsides, like being able to be shot down, but the rocket artillery isn't necessary anymore for armies. But it is still a very nice unit. Being able to shoot enemy units from a distance is very nice, and this unit also doesn't require to be set up, so it can move one tile and then shoot in the same turn, which is, I mean, it's a good unit. It's not exceptional, and it is replaceable, but I would still build a few of these if you can. The tank, I believe, is a B tier. It's for all the reasons that the Panzer is an A tier, the tank is a B tier, except it's just slightly less strong. It has slightly less movement, but it still has the same purpose: punching through enemy lines and exploiting those breakthroughs. So I would definitely use these, but do beware of helicopter gunships. But again, anti-tank guns, while they might be able to destroy you in a one-on-one engagement, you will usually be able to maneuver around them because you have 5 move and they have 2. The Zero is the last unit of this era to be rated. I think it's an A tier together with the B-17. It's the Japanese special unit and replaces the fighter. It has the ability bonus versus fighters, 33% bonus versus fighters, which is nice, but it's not exceptional. What really makes this unit good when compared with the fighter is that it doesn't require oil. And oil in this era is honestly everything. Oil and aluminum are the basis of late game combat. Usually, I will fight my wars over who has control of the most oil and aluminum reserves. I will put cities in places where I usually wouldn't put them. I will conquer cities when I usually wouldn't. These are just incredibly good units because they don't require oil. That means you have more oil to spend on tanks. That means you have more oil to spend on bombers. That means you have more oil to spend on basically on naval units. It's just an incredibly nice ability to have. But it's not S tier because, imagine you have 6 of these in a city and then someone throws a nuke at it. Yeah, that's it. So that's my tier list. If you agree, if you don't agree, tell me in the comments. and goodbye.